Welcome back, rare coins all world, coin lovers and history buffs. Today's video is going to take us on a journey through one of the most iconic commemorative coins in American history, a coin that was minted to mark a powerful moment in time, and one that might just be hiding a fortune in plain sight. Yes, we're talking about the Kennedy half-dollar, specifically the 1776 to 1976 bicentennial edition. A coin that not only honors the 200th anniversary of American independence, but also carries with it mystery, patriotism, and in rare cases, an eye-popping price tag. So grab your favorite coin holder or magnifying glass, and let's dive into the fascinating world of this bold and beautiful half-dollar, a coin that's more than just metal, it's a piece of America. Let's rewind for a second. The year is 1976. The United States is in full celebration mode. It's the bicentennial, 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. The country is bursting with parades, fireworks, and commemorative everything. And of course, the U.S. Mint couldn't let this historic milestone pass without something truly special. To honor the occasion, the Mint created unique bicentennial designs for three coins: the quarter, the dollar, and the half-dollar. But among them, the Kennedy half-dollar stood out. Why? Because it already carried so much emotional weight. After President John F. Kennedy's tragic assassination in 1963, the half-dollar was redesigned to feature his portrait. It became a symbol of hope, unity, and remembrance. So, when it came time to celebrate the bicentennial in 1976, the Mint knew they had to do something unforgettable. Instead of showing the usual date, the 1976 Kennedy half-dollar displays dual dates, 1776 to 1976, representing both the birth of the nation and its 200th birthday. But the real treat? The reverse. Instead of the traditional presidential seal, this special edition features a stunning image of Independence Hall in Philadelphia, the very place where America's founding fathers gathered to draft and sign the Declaration of Independence. It's a powerful symbol, etched in fine detail, capturing the spirit of freedom and the roots of American democracy. So how many of these coins were made? A lot. In fact, hundreds of millions. Most were made from a copper-nickel clad composition and were circulated widely. They were made in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and most people who got their hands on one used it like any other coin. That's why so many today are scratched, worn, or have long since disappeared into circulation. But here's the thing, not all of these coins are equal. And not all of them are worth only 50 cents, there are a few versions of this coin that are far more rare, and far more valuable. Let's talk about what makes one of these bicentennial Kennedy half-dollars special, and possibly worth a fortune. First, there's the silver factor. While most bicentennial half-dollars were made from the standard copper-nickel blend, the U.S. Mint also released 40% silver versions intended for collectors. These were never meant for regular circulation, they were sold in special sets and packaging. If you happen to find one of these silver coins, especially still sealed or in uncirculated condition, you're already looking at a more desirable item. But it doesn't stop there. Then you've got proof coins, minted with extra care using polished dies and blanks, designed for crisp, mirror-like finishes and extreme detail. These coins were struck at the San Francisco Mint and often carry the S mint mark. If you come across one in pristine condition, especially still in its original proof set, you're holding something collectors are eager to get their hands on. And then, we have the ultimate prize, error coins. Yes, even in a monumental year like 1976, mistakes happened. And when they did, those flawed coins became rare treasures. Some were struck off-center. Others had die breaks, doubling, or planchet issues. A few even had reverse designs stamped on the wrong blanks. These minting mistakes, rare and unique, can catapult a coin's value to incredible heights, but as always in coin collecting, the condition is king. A bicentennial Kennedy half-dollar in average condition might be worth $1 or $2. A nice proof coin, maybe $20 to $50. But when you combine rarity, a minting error, and an extremely high-grade condition, say a coin graded MS 69 or PR 70, that's where the numbers start getting serious. Now imagine you're going through an old collection. Maybe it belonged to your grandfather, or maybe it's just a jar of change from years ago. You pull out a coin with that unmistakable 1776 to 1976 dual date. It looks shiny. The details are sharp. Maybe there's even something strange about the strike, a doubling, a unique mint mark, or a missing element. You take a closer look, and realize, this isn't just a coin. It's a rare find, and now, here comes the jaw-dropping part of the story. Point one of these Kennedy half-dollars, a 1776 to 1976 bicentennial edition featuring a rare mint error, struck in silver, and graded in nearly flawless condition, recently sold for a staggering $139,500. Yes, you heard that right. $139,500 for a half-dollar. That's why the world of coin collecting continues to thrill people around the world. Because history, beauty, and value can sometimes be found in the most unexpected places, even in a 50-cent piece from your childhood. So, if you've got an old coin collection, a forgotten set in your attic, or just a dusty box from a yard sale, take a closer look. That 1976 Kennedy half-dollar might be a window into the past, and a ticket to something extraordinary. Today, we've got a gem for you that many overlook, the Kennedy half-dollar 1992. At first glance, this may seem like just another modern coin, but don't be fooled. There's more to this coin than meets the eye. Today, we're going to explore the story of the 1992 Kennedy half-dollar, its history, why it might be worth much more than you think, and how this seemingly ordinary coin could end up being worth a small fortune. The Kennedy half-dollar has been around since 1964, a tribute to President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination. The coin became a symbol of hope, courage, and the spirit of leadership. For years, it was one of the most well-known coins in circulation, featuring President Kennedy's iconic profile on the obverse and the presidential seal on the reverse. But as the years went by, the Kennedy half-dollar underwent a series of changes, both in terms of design and production. The coin was originally minted in 90% silver, but due to rising silver prices, production was switched to a copper-nickel blend in 1971. And yet, even with these changes, the Kennedy half-dollar maintained its place in American currency. In 1992, the U.S. Mint produced another batch of these iconic half-dollars, though they weren't as widely circulated as earlier years. Despite that, the 1992 version of the coin carries a special significance and some unique features that can make it much more valuable than you might think. Now, let's talk about the 1992 Kennedy half-dollar. In terms of design, it didn't stray far from the original concept. The obverse still features President Kennedy's portrait, while the reverse showcases the presidential seal. However, what makes this coin noteworthy is its rarity, the condition, and the presence of errors that could make it worth far more than face value. First off, the 1992 Kennedy half-dollar wasn't as commonly used as some of the other half-dollars. The coin wasn't minted in the same large quantities as it had been in previous decades. This rarity, combined with its relatively recent vintage, means that many collectors consider the 1992 Kennedy half-dollar a piece that's worth holding onto, especially in uncirculated condition. But what makes a coin like this so valuable? It all comes down to condition. A coin in mint state, one that has been carefully preserved and shows no signs of wear, is worth much more than one that's seen extensive circulation. Coins that are graded MS 65 or higher, mint state, can significantly increase in value. The rarer the coin and the better the condition, the more collectors are willing to pay. However, it's not just about the condition. Another crucial factor that impacts the value of the 1992 Kennedy half-dollar is error coins. Yes, mistakes happen in the minting process, and when they do, they can lead to coins that are considered highly valuable by collectors. Errors like off-center strikes, double dies, or even coins with missing elements can make a seemingly regular coin worth a lot more. For example, a 1992 Kennedy half-dollar with a double die obverse, where the features of Kennedy's portrait are doubled, or an off-center strike could fetch much more than the regular market price. These are coins that stand out because of their unique minting flaws, and collectors will pay a premium for them. But there's another factor at play here, the 40% silver versions of the Kennedy half-dollar. Although the majority of 1992 half-dollars were made with the typical copper-nickel composition, there was still a limited production of silver proofs for collectors. These silver versions are more desirable to collectors because of their higher silver content, making them more valuable than the regular clad coins. When it comes to the 1992 Kennedy half-dollar, it's important to keep an eye out for any of these special versions. Whether it's a proof coin, a mint state coin, or even one with a unique error, the value of these coins can rise significantly above their face value. But how much are they really worth? Well, that depends on the specific coin in question. A 1992 Kennedy half-dollar, especially one that is graded in mint condition or has an error, can fetch a handsome price at auction. In fact, one of the highest-selling coins of this type recently went for an astounding $100,500. Yes, that's right, $100,500 for a single 1992 Kennedy half-dollar. Now, let's break that down a bit further. For the average person, finding a 1992 Kennedy half-dollar in their change jar might not lead to a windfall. However, if you've been hanging on to old coin collections, or perhaps you inherited a jar of loose change from a family member, you might be sitting on a goldmine, especially if one of those coins happens to be in near-perfect condition, or contains an error. So, how can you tell if your 1992 Kennedy half-dollar is worth more than just face value? The first thing you'll want to do is check the coin's condition. A simple scratch or sign of wear can drastically decrease its value. Coins that are graded at MS 65 or higher are considered the most valuable. After that, look for any potential mint errors, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or anything unusual in the design. If you're not sure about the coin's value, don't worry. You can always send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to get an official certification. They'll assess the coin's condition, check for errors, and give you a better idea of its potential worth. Whether it's a proof coin, an error coin, or a high-grade specimen, the 1992 Kennedy half-dollar has a special place in the world of coin collecting. It's a coin with a rich history, a timeless design, and in rare cases, a value that could make your jaw drop. So, next time you're sorting through your change or looking through your coin collection, keep an eye out for this particular coin. It could just be worth more than you think, and you could end up with a $100,500 surprise in your hands. Today's video will take you on a journey through time as we explore one of the most iconic U.S. coins in modern history, the Kennedy half-dollar 1971. At first glance, it may seem like just another half-dollar in your pocket change, but trust me, there's more to this coin than you might think. So, if you've got any 1971 Kennedy half-dollars lying around, or if you've ever wondered what makes certain coins so valuable, stay tuned, because the value of this coin might surprise you. Let's start by diving into a little bit of history to understand why the Kennedy half-dollar 1971 holds such significance. The Kennedy half-dollar was first minted in 1964, just a year after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The coin was created to honor his legacy and was an instant symbol of hope, strength, and resilience for the American people. Since then, the coin has become one of the most recognized and respected pieces of U.S. currency. By 1971, the Kennedy half-dollar had been in circulation for several years, and the design remained largely unchanged. On the obverse, you still see the iconic profile of President Kennedy, looking dignified and strong, while the reverse features the presidential seal, which has represented the office of the president for generations. It's a simple yet profound design that has endured throughout the years, but what really makes the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar so special? Is it just another coin that will eventually be tucked away in a drawer and forgotten about? Well, not quite. The story behind this coin is more complex than it seems. First, we have to talk about the material change that occurred with this coin. Prior to 1971, the Kennedy half-dollar was struck in 90% silver, making it a valuable coin for those who knew how to recognize silver's worth. However, due to rising silver prices and the increasing cost of minting coins, the U.S. Mint made a significant decision. In 1971, they switched to a copper-nickel clad composition, meaning the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar no longer contained silver. Instead, it was made from a combination of copper and nickel, which reduced its cost to produce. This change in materials meant that the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar had a lower intrinsic value compared to its predecessors. However, this doesn't mean it's not valuable in the world of coin collecting. In fact, the value of this coin goes far beyond its metal content. One of the key factors that makes the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar valuable is rarity. While millions of these coins were produced, the true value lies in their condition and whether they have been well preserved over the years. Most of the 1971 Kennedy half-dollars that were released into circulation have seen wear and tear, with scratches, dings, and discoloration. But finding one that has been carefully kept in mint condition can make it a highly sought-after coin among collectors, but there's more. There are a few special editions of the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar that hold even more value. The proof coin is one example. These were specially struck coins that were meant for collectors and were produced in limited quantities. Unlike regular circulation coins, proof coins were struck with higher pressure and on specially polished dies, giving them a shiny, mirror-like finish. The 1971 proof coin, especially those graded as PR 69 or higher, can command a much higher price in the market, and then there are the error coins. You may be wondering, how could a mistake make a coin more valuable? Well, errors can happen during the minting process, and when they do, they can make certain coins incredibly rare. For example, if a 1971 Kennedy half-dollar was struck off-center, or had a double die error, it could be worth significantly more than a regular coin. These unique mistakes are prized by collectors because they represent something that is truly one of a kind. It's not just about condition, rarity, or errors. There's also the factor of demand. Over time, the Kennedy half-dollar has gained an almost iconic status. It's not just a piece of currency, it's a symbol of an era, a reminder of a country that, despite its challenges, moved forward with strength and determination. This connection to American history only adds to the coin's value in the eyes of collectors. But how much is the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar worth? Well, it depends on several factors, including condition, minting errors, and whether the coin is a proof edition. A well-preserved circulated coin might only fetch a few dollars above face value. However, when you take into account special editions, pristine condition, or even mint errors, the price can rise substantially. Now, here's where it gets really exciting. If you happen to have a 1971 Kennedy half-dollar that is in pristine, uncirculated condition, or better yet, has an error, you could be sitting on a small fortune. In fact, a 1971 Kennedy half-dollar, in perfect condition or with a rare mint error, has sold for an impressive $116,000. Yes, you heard that right, $116,000 for a single coin. Imagine that, a coin that was originally worth just 50 cents could end up being worth $116,000 in the right condition or with the right unique characteristics. It's a testament to the incredible world of coin collecting, where a small piece of history can turn into a financial windfall. So, the next time you're sorting through your coin collection or going through a jar of old change, take a moment to inspect your 1971 Kennedy half-dollars. It could be worth more than you ever imagined. Even if you don't find a rare, mint-condition coin, you could still be holding a piece of American history in your hands. Today, we're taking a deep dive into one of the lesser-known, yet incredibly valuable coins in the world of numismatics, the Kennedy half-dollar 1998. Now, you might think, what's so special about a 1998 half-dollar? Well, stick with us, because by the end of this video, you'll be surprised to learn just how much this seemingly ordinary coin could actually be worth. Let's start with a little history. The Kennedy half-dollar was first minted in 1964, just a year after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. His untimely death left a profound mark on the nation, and in honor of his legacy, the U.S. Mint decided to issue a coin bearing his likeness. The original design featured Kennedy's profile on the obverse, with the reverse showcasing the presidential seal. The coin quickly became a symbol of remembrance and patriotism. Now, fast forward to 1998. By this time, the Kennedy half-dollar had undergone several changes. For example, starting in 1971, the coin switched from being made of silver to a copper-nickel composition. The 1998 Kennedy half-dollar, like the coins minted in the years before it, was produced in this copper-nickel-clad format, which means it wasn't made from silver. But that doesn't mean this coin is any less valuable. In fact, the 1998 Kennedy half dollar has a lot more to offer than you might think. First, let's talk about mintage numbers. The 1998 Kennedy half dollar wasn't produced in massive quantities. While millions of these coins were minted, they weren't as widely circulated as some earlier half dollars. By the time the late 90s rolled around, the Kennedy half dollar had become less common in regular circulation, which means fewer of these coins were worn down or destroyed through use. This relatively low circulation means that finding a 1998 Kennedy half dollar in excellent condition is much rarer than you might expect, but it's not just about rarity, it's about condition. The 1998 Kennedy half dollar is one of those coins that can skyrocket in value if it's in uncirculated or mint condition. Coins that have been carefully preserved and haven't been subjected to the wear and tear of daily transactions are always in demand. If you have a 1998 Kennedy half dollar that looks like it just came from the US Mint, it's going to be far more valuable than one that has been bounced around in a pocket or jar for years. Another key factor that can influence the coin's value is errors. Yes, mistakes can happen during the minting process, and when they do, they can make a coin even more valuable. Coins with mint errors, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or die clashes, can be worth a significant amount more than a regular coin. These error coins are highly sought after by collectors because they're unique, a one-of-a-kind piece of history that stands apart from the rest. If you have a 1998 Kennedy half dollar with a noticeable minting error, it could dramatically increase in value. Now, you might be wondering just how much this coin could be worth. If you've been following along so far, you'll know that the value of a 1998 Kennedy half dollar depends largely on its condition, its rarity, and whether it has any error features. But there's a figure that might really blow your mind: in exceptional mint state or proof condition, or if it has a rare minting error. A 1998 Kennedy half dollar has been known to sell for as much as $110,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $110,000 for a single coin. Now, let's take a moment to break that down. A coin that was originally worth just 50 cents could become a valuable piece of American history, fetching a price that's beyond what most of us could imagine. That's the power of numismatics, how seemingly ordinary coins can appreciate in value based on their condition, rarity, and even the unique mistakes that occurred during their minting process. So, how do you know if your 1998 Kennedy half dollar could be worth this much? The first step is to check its condition. If the coin is still in brilliant, uncirculated condition, it's definitely worth more than face value. Coins that are graded as MS-65 or higher by professional grading services tend to fetch a premium in the market. The better the condition, the more the coin will be worth. Next, look for any possible minting errors. Even a small mistake can make a huge difference in the value of the coin. A double die error, where the design is doubled on one side, is highly coveted by collectors. If your 1998 Kennedy half dollar has an error like this, it could push the value into the five-figure range or higher. If you're not sure about the coin's grade or whether it has an error, don't worry. There are professional grading services like PCGS and NGC that can evaluate the coin and give you an official grade. A high-grade coin or one with a unique minting error could then be listed at auctions, where collectors from all over the world might compete for it. Now, let's talk about demand. As with any collectible, the price of a coin is largely determined by how much collectors are willing to pay for it. In the case of the 1998 Kennedy half dollar, the demand for these coins has increased over the years, especially for those in excellent condition or with errors. The Kennedy half dollar has become a beloved coin in American numismatics, and as more people get interested in collecting coins, the value of these rare and unique pieces continues to rise. So, if you've been lucky enough to find a 1998 Kennedy half dollar in your collection, or if you happen to come across one in your spare change, make sure to take a closer look. It could be worth much more than you think. Whether it's a perfect uncirculated coin, a rare proof, or one with an intriguing minting error, the 1998 Kennedy half dollar could be a treasure waiting to be discovered. And there you have it, the 1998 Kennedy half dollar is a coin with significant historical value, rare minting qualities, and the potential to fetch an impressive price at auction. If you find one in pristine condition or with a minting error, you could be looking at a coin worth $110,000. Today, we're diving into the world of rare coins, and specifically, we'll be exploring a piece of history that many might overlook, the Kennedy half-dollar 1981. This seemingly ordinary coin, which most people would dismiss as just another half-dollar, could be hiding an immense value that's sure to catch your attention. If you've ever wondered how a coin from the 1980s could possibly be worth more than you think, you're in for a treat. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be amazed at just how much this coin could be worth. The Kennedy half-dollar was first introduced in 1964, just after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The U.S. Mint honored the memory of this beloved president by creating a coin in his likeness, making it an instant symbol of respect, patriotism, and remembrance. The coin's design has remained largely unchanged over the years, with Kennedy's profile on the obverse and the presidential seal on the reverse. By 1981, the Kennedy half-dollar had become a staple of American currency, though its role had shifted over the years. After initially being made of 90% silver, the coin transitioned in 1971 to a copper-nickel-clad composition, a change prompted by rising silver prices and the economic climate of the time. While this change made the coin less valuable in terms of intrinsic silver content, the 1981 Kennedy half-dollar still holds tremendous value in the world of coin collecting. You might be wondering, what makes the 1981 Kennedy half-dollar so special? After all, millions of these coins were minted, and they were not released as part of a special commemorative set or error issue. But, as is often the case in the world of numismatics, value isn't always about rarity, it's about condition, preservation, and the collector's market point. One of the primary factors that can drive up the value of a 1981 Kennedy half-dollar is condition. The coin may have been produced in high numbers, but its true worth is often determined by how well it has been preserved. Like any collectible, the better the condition, the higher the value. Coins that have been kept in pristine, uncirculated condition are rare and highly sought after. A 1981 Kennedy half-dollar that looks like it just came from the U.S. Mint can fetch a substantial amount more than a coin that has been used in daily circulation. Over time, many coins become worn or damaged due to handling, but if you manage to find one that is still in mint condition, you may have a hidden treasure in your hands. Another element that can increase the coin's value is the possibility of special editions. Though the 1981 Kennedy half-dollar was produced for general circulation, there were also proof versions of the coin minted, which were sold directly to collectors. Proof coins are created using a special process that results in a coin with a mirror-like finish, making them much more aesthetically pleasing and valuable than regular circulation coins. These proof coins were produced in limited numbers, and some collectors are specifically interested in acquiring them, especially those in high-quality, uncirculated condition. However, what really makes the 1981 Kennedy half-dollar stand out in the world of rare coins is the potential for minting errors. While errors may seem like a drawback to most people, in the world of coin collecting, they are highly prized. A minting error could occur during the process of striking the coin, resulting in anything from an off-center strike to a double die error, where the design appears doubled on the coin. Even something as minor as a small crack in the die can lead to an error coin that becomes incredibly valuable. Error coins are especially sought after because they are unique. They represent a one-off mistake that makes the coin stand out from the rest. If you happen to find a 1981 Kennedy half-dollar with such an error, it could be worth much more than a regular coin. Now, let's get to the exciting part. Just how much could your 1981 Kennedy half-dollar be worth? If you happen to have one of these coins in pristine mint condition, or even better, one that has a rare minting error, you could be looking at a surprising price tag. In fact, a 1981 Kennedy half-dollar in top condition has been known to fetch as much as $125,000. That's right, a half-dollar coin, originally worth just 50 cents, could be worth $125,000 in the right circumstances. The price is driven by the rarity of these coins in excellent condition, as well as the demand among collectors who are constantly on the lookout for coins that are pristine, rare, or have a unique story behind them. Whether it's the 1981 Kennedy half-dollar with a perfectly preserved design or one with a fascinating minting error, collectors are always looking for these hidden gems, and they're willing to pay top dollar for them. So, how do you know if your 1981 Kennedy half-dollar is worth a small fortune? The first thing to do is carefully inspect the coin's condition. If it's in mint state, with no scratches, dents, or other signs of wear, you've got something special on your hands. Look at the coin under good lighting, and check for any unusual characteristics, such as a double die error, or a misaligned strike. If you think you've found something unusual, it's worth having the coin professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. They can give you an official grade and help you determine if your coin is worth more than just its face value. If your 1981 Kennedy half-dollar does turn out to be a rare, uncirculated coin or a mint error, it could end up being a valuable addition to your collection, or even a coin that fetches a significant sum at auction. The world of rare coins can be full of surprises, and the 1981 Kennedy half-dollar is just one example of how something as simple as a half-dollar coin can have incredible value. Whether you've been collecting for years or you've just started, this is one coin you'll want to keep an eye out for. Before you go, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can stay updated on all the latest in the world of rare and valuable coins. We've got plenty more exciting discoveries coming your way. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting.